Happens Teesside for the 48th week of 2024. My name's Annie, and the other night at knitting, Jill was working with some opium yarn. She'd made a cardigan previously, a black one. Now opium yarn is like a cotton and acrylic, I think, mix, and it sort of goes thick and thin. And you knit it on quite a big needle, and she wore the last one out. It went thinner all over rather than being thick and thin. It was sort of thin and thin. So she's remaking with some, because it's discontinued. So she's found some yarn on eBay or somewhere like that, and she's making herself another one because she wore it a lot. Helen has been doing mega Christmas plans with her knitting projects. So there's a hat for somebody she's using We County yarns, and it's Fair Isle, and there's quite a lot of colours in it. She's also finished a jumper, and there's a picture of it on Teddy, who is not Hector. Hector has visited. When Hector's owners go away, he visits Helen. And the last time he visited, he got to see some snow. She has plans for all sorts of weird and wonderful things, like toilet roll covers or cozies, whichever way you want to put it. Vi has been totally bogged down with housework, DIY and partying, so I don't think she's been creating very much at all. And actually, I haven't done that much. I've finished the strawberry shoes, but I need to sew the second one together, and I need to find some buttons. I have sewn my little sparkly strawberry onto this hat, and did decide, like somebody suggested, I think it was Moira, I don't know if that one's done on a bigger needle, but it's all right, isn't it? I might put a pink one on this instead, so that she's got two different hats. But they look nice, don't they, with the strawberries inside the flowers. So they're finished. This has lost its friend, but I have made two. So one was in a knitting bag and one was in the bag of finished items. It's from an old-fashioned pattern. This is the latest hat, because baby needs a hat straight away in hospital or for coming out. But this it's really rather small. It will definitely come in handy for a doll. I don't know if it should be turned up. So that's out of a little leaflet. It's a Debbie Bliss, I think. What I'm going to do is knit the next size and maybe the next size, and then there will be a selection and one of them is guaranteed to fit. I thought that would be the best way of doing it, because you really don't know. Though the midwives might have an idea, because I'm sure they can do sort of measurements on when they do the scans and things. I'm quite sure they can do measurements. Just been for these to show you. It's got the needle in so I don't lose it. So that's my first little shoe. Which probably needs some sort of shaping, I would think. What I did, because there's only 3 rows between the spots and there was no way I was sewing in all them ends on something so small that would be bulky. On the third row in between, I took the yarn back to the other end, and then it was in the right place for the next row, which is really something that designers should put. I'm sure they should put this in their pattern. So this is the other one. It's just all ready to sew together. I don't mind sewing up, but these I find a little bit annoying. The next project for baby is going to be very cold vanilla coffee, black, proper coffee. It's kind of still nice, but not as nice as it would have been when it was still warm. So my little sheepy dog, Lottie, she's had a trim this morning and Tim made the coffee. And I did have a cup that was the right temperature, but by the time I topped up, because I was busy sorting the dog out, it had gone a bit cold. So that's that. Now, I need more wool, like I need a hole in the head. So, have plans for strawberry blankets, don't I? This week I had a look. I went on YouTube and had a look at the instructions for making strawberry blankets, where they're just a row of strawberries with an offset row of strawberries, and it's a strawberry and a leaf. And anyway, I wonder if I've got the bit I tried. So here's the little bit I tried. And actually, what I was trying to do, you can't see that very well, because the strawberries have to be done in the same direction all the time. The way it worked, it was counterintuitive, like the booties, and what would happen if I made a whole blanket this way with the crochet method would be that every end of every colour all the way up would need tying off or sewing in, and I wasn't prepared to do that. So I was trying to do them going the other way so that the yarn would be at the right end, but then you don't get the ripply. So this is a proper ripply strawberry, and then that would be not ripply enough. Anyway, the textures will be different on each row if I did it that way. But what I did find is a Tunisian crochet pattern where I haven't tried it yet, but I'm quite sure that because you go one way and then back, you're always going to be at the right end to carry your yarn up one side. So that's the plan. Now, I had a look in various places in my stash, and I had some lovely red Debbie Bliss Falkland Merino Aran, but I had maybe enough red, and it is machine washable, but I didn't have the green. So I would have to find the green in the first place, with it being kind of discontinued, or find some online somewhere. So I thought I'll have a look in my stash and see if I've got a nice green that I can put with this Aran. And I didn't really have any green that was suitable that would be machine washable. And so throughout the week I've looked in different boxes and bags and places, and then yesterday I got Tim to get a couple of containers down off the top of the wardrobe that you can't see through. The containers, you can't see through them, so I didn't really know what was in them. So there's a great big huge bag that's like a suitcase, that was actually my suitcase once upon a time when I was a student, and in the top was this humongous ball of perfect red. Would it be one of those 300 gram balls? And I think this is the Women's Institute yarn, which is from Hobbycraft, which is a big sort of warehouse craft shop that you get in retail parks and places like that, which are very busy at this time of year. Plus, if we go out for any length of time, we like to take our doggies with us. So yesterday we went out to look for some green that went with it. Now, the Starcraft Special double knit had the perfect shade of green, but nobody had it in the Aran weight. The places I looked at, we went to Thirsk, which is sort of a market town, kind of small, quaint, with a central square, and dogs are very welcome, so the dogs are allowed in the wool shops. Well, they were allowed in one of them and not the other one. There's actually 2 wool shops there, and I've been there loads of times, and actually there's a really good fabric shop, and I've never been in it, and all of these places have been there for 7 years. So I don't know if I've been going on a Sunday or something like that. Or maybe I've been going on, if they have a Wednesday off or a Monday off or something like that, the shops will be shut when I'm there. So I've never been in them. The first thing I saw when we got out of the car was a board, a sandwich board, I think you call them, that said this way for... Oh, I got the card as well. I just got some threads that I couldn't find anywhere else. Where was I? Well, I was looking for yarn, and the perfect colour was called Leaf, and I thought that somewhere after I went round all these shops might have Leaf in Aran weight, but it appears that Aran weight isn't available in the Leaf shade. So what I did buy is eventually Meadow. So that's Meadow, which goes with this, and one of my next projects will be the Tunisian, but I might do the little hats first, so I haven't got that much to show you really, have I? That should be quite right. Is it still on? Oh yeah, God. So the first thing I saw was a sign that said, "Fabric bird this way." I thought, oh, I'll go and have a look. Had hundreds and hundreds of bolts of fabric from all different places. There were some furnishing ones, interfacings and things like that. There were some furs and some dressmaking fabrics, but I've got sort of this cupboard here is kind of full of things like that and overflowing, so I really need to sort my life out. So I didn't buy any of that, but I did find some strawberries and some hedgehogs and strawberries and some hedgehogs. And as we were going with hedgehogs, I thought I'd have some hedgehogs and red leaves too, so they all kind of go together, don't they? But what I did think I would do would be add a jolly red to them to make a quilt. Maybe one of the puff patch biscuit quilts, they call them, don't they? Which I have got one behind. I've got one behind the camera. Like this. So I'll have some red patterned somewhere, but that's not an urgent project. That's just something that I thought, well, while I'm here and you've got strawberries, I'll get some strawberries. So when we came out of there, about 20 yards down the road or something like that, 50 maybe, there's a wool shop. So I went in the wool shop and had a look at all the Aran. I did buy this needle because you can never have enough. That's a 2.5mm. You know when you buy these sets, you just end up with loads of big ones that you don't use, don't you? I mostly work between, I would say 5mm occasionally, but mostly I like to use mohair 4-ply. So 2, 3, 4mm needles. I just need a bag full of them instead. Right, so I'm going all about the houses here. And that's the fabric shop. So the wool shop there, well, there's two. One's called Ewe and Yarn, and the other one was... So there's the Fabric Bird, which is just around the corner from Ewe and Yarn, and then further up you've got Crafts of Thirsk, I think it's called. So they had quite a lot as well. And then they probably had this, I keep doing that because it's gaping. This colour, they probably had this colour in maybe even both of the shops. But I was looking for a different green at the time, and then we went to Boys, which is like Woolworths used to be in the UK, but Woolworths doesn't exist anymore. So it's a shop where you can buy most of the useful things you need. They sell clothes, bits of pet food and things like that, all your cleaning products, all your pots and pans and kitchen things and underwear, wool, fabric, towels, bedding. They have books, they have some toys, cards. It's kind of like a very useful shop. They even have fishing tackle and bits and bobs of hoovers and toasters and kettles and things, but not like big fridges. So Boys is spelled Boyes. And we did go there last week, but I hadn't got to the point where I needed my green wool because I hadn't looked through everything and I hadn't had a go and made a decision on what I was going to be doing. So now I have. I've gone with Meadow. So next week you might see some. Hopefully it won't be just more baby hats, because that might be a little bit boring. So today I am wearing a Fair Isle, maybe a little bit Christmassy. See, doesn't it gape? So you know how we don't need wool? Well, I don't need buttons either. But finding the precise wool or the precise buttons for what you're doing is a different matter, isn't it? Even if you've got hundreds of them, probably thousands. So these are all a little bit different. And I really don't think it matters. In fact, I'd forgotten until I was looking in the mirror earlier and I thought, oh, they're different. This was knitted in pieces. And the pattern was very good at showing you how to get your... You know, it was very well lined up. If you started off at the right place on the graph, it all fit together beautifully. Can I remember what this wool is? I can't. It's quite thick. I can't remember what it is. I think it was off eBay. I used to buy a lot of wool off eBay because it was way, way, way cheaper. Before that, I used to buy wool from a local shop, Bobby Davison's, and they used to put it away for us so you could spread out the cost. And she had, out behind the till, she had like pigeonholes where she would put people's yarn. probably in an alphabetical order or something like that. So that was a really useful way of buying more expensive yarn. Just go into the shop when you needed it. And I didn't knit that fast then, or have that much time. I still don't have time now. Anyway, I think I might be waffling a little bit. So I'm going to show you around some of the wool shops. I did get little bits of photos and footage for you. So Thirsk is, I'll have to label it. Thirsk is the one where there's two little shops, and then Boys is our local shop. So that's quite a lot of wool shops in one day, isn't it? So I'll have to see how that goes. Green, can't quite find the right shade. Anyway, I think that's about it for this week. This pattern was in Knitting magazine quite a long time ago, and I don't know. If I find out, I'll put it on, find out which one it was. But I also have a big stack of magazines. So just putting my hands on the right one, just like that, would be a bit of a miracle probably. And I haven't got a note of which one it was out of. But it's kind of nice and warm, and the sleeves are nice and long. I completely forgot about the cat. Well, I didn't completely forget about the cat. But this week we put our Christmas tree up. So you can kind of imagine the shenanigans. So I'm going to put some of them on for you at the end. And also, she has spent hours and hours and hours this week running up and down the stairs, carrying a little ball and rolling it down and then carrying it back up. So she's quite good at entertaining herself, which is good news, isn't it? Enjoy! So that's about it for this week. Some more news, maybe, next week.
You get stuck. Come out.
Come out. Come out, you little stinker.
She might. Cheeky face, I can't got on.
Being short and all that. Oh. I just thought she might. Ready? It's all yours.
You're so naughty. Stop it. Get down. Stop, stop, stop. Let me see it.
Well, that's just an excuse.
Placing of the star.
Merry Christmas.